Right, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. We have some very special guests on this interview, this conversation with Mike and Eve of the Green Sheep. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Nice
Howdy,
to see
howdy.
you.
Right on. Well, wonderful to connect with you guys. And maybe first off, the Green Sheep. Get an idea of where that name comes from. This is kind of a banner that you guys are going under, putting out good, wonderful information, perspective about food, nutrition. Tell us a little about the name or the identity of the Green Sheep.
Yeah, for sure. So we were both black sheep, still are, pride ourselves now. We're the misfits, right? It used to be growing up like, oh, we were different, like, we were picked on or bullied or stood out or thought differently. It's like the black sheep of the family. And as we get older, we sit in ourselves and think like, no, it's okay. It's okay to be different. We have a different perspective. We have a gift with that. And so we came up with the green sheep, kind of ex-black sheep turned green sheep, now talking about all things health and wellness and food and connecting it from, what we eat to the soil where it's grown into, being Mike's specialty. So combining that element of human health, which is where I started, and we all need to be there, and soil health, which is, your jam
Yeah,
and where you started. And then we meet together and we talk about food, and that gives us the whole cycle.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, it's such a great, powerful combo, the two of you and the perspectives that you bring. And yeah, I'm sure many people watching can relate, like especially those of us that have been into, looking at our food. We're going against the grain, like against the kind of the mainstream, the conventional. And isn't it interesting, right? Like how much that perspective is shifting, on large, within society. It is becoming more mainstream, and our kind of what has been fringe is now actually being a little bit more commonly accepted, and we're maybe not so, far off, in the corner as black sheep. And yeah, here we are, the green sheep.
yeah, exactly. And then it gives us a place to build a bit of a community around that too, right? So we don't have to feel like we're out on our own. And
Mhm.
and as you're saying, like the more voices we get together on this stuff, the faster we're going to be able to get through change and feel pretty damn good about it too.
Totally. So, yeah, one thing that is, really coming to the forefront in the awareness, when I think about like change, and this is the reason why I got into what I got into, why you're into what you're into, that old idea. Like, I don't think there's anybody that's alive on this planet that goes like, things, could be better, right? Like everyone has this kind of dream and vision of, yeah, a better change, a better tomorrow. And I think what, you and I each have dialed in on and what we're going to focus this conversation around is, the power of our food, to make that change. Because as you start looking at it, there's so much wrong with our food system, with our diets, how the food is grown, how it's processed, how it's shipped, and then the types of foods that we're consuming, which leads to, and so, again, preaching to the converted here, we're on this path, this mission of like, that is the sing as big as dial to shift, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, the one thing that we love about talking about food is this is a topic for everyone.
Mm.
We all eat. We all eat food, so everyone can relate. And this has been a lifelong journey, right? Like we grew up on KD and Pop Tarts. We didn't come out being like, oh, I am the epitome of perfection. I'd love to believe that, but absolutely not, right? Like we were there and we've shifted. And that's what we want to share with people is our journey of how we've shifted and the fact that we all eat and it's so vital. Like we talk to kids all the time. We're made of food. The adage of you are what you eat is true. It's everything we put into our bodies that converts to our bodies. And our passion for this is based on the fact that, we've been lied to. And actually, we are continued to be lied to about food. And that's not okay with us. Right? We're like call it whatever you want. There's terms of greenwashing, there's, lies, flat out lies, and just things that are not communicated. And we've woken up to it, we acknowledge it, and we also want to share that with people and just kind of acknowledge and recognize this. Like, are you okay with being lied to? Like, look at what our kids now have to put up with in terms of all the stuff that they have access to for food that we never had, which, okay, look at one element being convenience, but no thanks, right? It's not food anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the big takeaway is we're calling all these things food, but a lot of it isn't.
Yeah,
So
no,
so
totally.
going back to the basis of what food really is, and then what it's supposed to do for us. And my whole journey with dealing with the soil and stuff for so long and seeing how bad agriculture has been tweaked and like even farming is not the same thing. Like a farmer, are they growing food for their local community and their family? Or are they just growing some commodity crop that gets thrown out into the global market and they don't know if it ever feeds anybody, or does it turn into fuel for some rocket ship that's going to space for some god on reason either, right? So turning all those dials back and just becoming, I think a big thing we talk about is the respect.
Mm.
If we can respect ourselves, then we'll be able to make respectful choices of how we treat our body a little bit better, which then in turn turns to the community, how we treat the environment and all that. And it just gets that ball rolling, right?
Yeah, well, and you think of respect, like breaking down that word, like spect is in like spectacle, to look, to re-look again. And I think that's the biggest, like kind of, gap, right? It's like we've been so disconnected from our food. It's, just before we hopped on, right? It's like moving people beyond like, oh, just whatever's quick, easy, tastes good. Like that was kind of my main mode of how I navigated what I wanted to eat until I was, an adolescent coming of age. I was like, actually, I want to eat in a way that creates, the future vision of the world that I want to live in. And to kind of relook at that, and this is why you guys are such a great, powerful duo, is okay, there's the food that I consume. I am what I eat. What is that creating? And so many people in our society, unfortunately, it's just sometimes how we have to learn, come to that space of re-looking at it again, because it's like we created disease because of our food choices, and that we can turn those things around when we shift, what we eat and start moving towards health again. And then Mike, what you're all about in terms of like, the ecosystems and ecosystem health, like there's the internal one, but our food choices literally, like create our ecosystems, our landscapes, their foodscapes. And, like you can choose, one type of path like commodity, which creates a certain world, and is very bleak, like it's not a pretty picture. And there's the other way, which is like, respect back to the soil, building soil, and the type of ecosystems we can create. And, seeing that, knowing that, that's what gives me hope and positivity is taking that kind of wide angle lens and looking at again, single common denominator, the food we eat, and then the power it has on a personal but also planetary level to create massive change.
Yeah, you nailed it, Malcolm. And we look at it as above, so below. The two systems mimic each other. What happens in the soil happens in our bodies, right? There's a microbiome in the body, there's a microbiome in the soil. There's so many parallels happening at the same time. And let's get connected back to that and have that synchronicity be so connected and powerful that the energy that flows out of us and out of the earth is beautiful, right? It's simple, never easy, but simple, right?
Yeah. Simple, 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 simple.
We're all about the simple.
Cool. So this is a message that you've been developing, and we're going to be hosting you both here at Light Cellar coming up Sunday, February 16th. It's going to be an afternoon session from 2 till 4. And yeah, tell us a little bit about what it is, what you'll be sharing, kind of the depth of what you'll be going into, and who that's listening to this would feel like, yeah, like I'm hearing the call, like who do you want in there in that room for that afternoon?
Yeah.
So first of all, if you eat, Just keep listening, right? If you're curious about your food choices, right? Keep listening. Come and take a look. If you're on the other side, if you're like, oh, I'm good. You know, I eat well, let's continue to grow. Let's not stay stagnant, right? We're the same way. We think we've got something and then we learn something new and we're like, oh my gosh, there's always more to learn, right? And you can come support our flock and be an advocate with us in terms of this information that we're sharing, right? So it's all about, do you understand food? Do you want to learn more about the importance of what food is and how you can take ownership and accountability of your own health and well-being through food? You don't have to outsource it, right? You can take care of yourself, because one of the questions we like to ask is, what do you think about the fact that malnutrition is the one and only disease? What we eat, how much that affects our well-being. And if you have full control over that, you can learn to forage. You can learn what's in our backyard. You can learn and connect with farmers and grow things yourself and have that power back, right? You don't have to be told. And we want to uncover some lies that we're really upset about, things that are not known. And frankly, perhaps they don't want us to know, and that's not okay. But the more we know, the more power we have. What else would you say?
Yeah, like we want to build a community where we can come back together over food. Because if we can eat good food, healthy food, and have good conversation and have good, clear minds, then we can make wicked decisions going forward and make change. But I also want to be able to create a bit of a community where we can come together and be pissed. Like this stuff makes my blood boil and vent to each other. But then as we come up with these conversations and let off that energy with like-minded individuals, then we can start to move forward and be okay with that all this stuff has been lied to and we've been cheated and all this stuff. But what do we do going forward now to switch all that stuff back up again?
Right, right. And building that community, like you said, is we're solutions based, right? So it's okay to be angry, but now what? What are we going to do? And we have those steps of let's build that community. Let's make those connections. Let's really see what we need to do united and how we can support each other and move forward.
Yeah, awesome. Again, I think, a lot of people listening, like they're aware of it. Maybe they've pinpointed a lot of the issues. Maybe they've started to make some of those changes in their lives. And as you said, this is an invitation to come together with others that are of like mind, to connect and to start to really build a movement, build a momentum. Because yes, we all need to do our own individual work together, but we're going to be stronger together in that way of building that collective and working together towards a common goal. So yeah, love it. Love what you guys are doing and up to. Stoked to host you Sunday, February 16th. So that's going to be from 2 till 4. That's Mountain Standard Time. And if it's time for anybody that's watching, you're really inspired, you want to join, but maybe you live in a different part of the country or even different part of the city, we can stream it. It's going to be available online as well as in person. And anybody registered will get a recording of the event to kind of review again any time afterwards. So go to lightseller.ca. You can see live classes and events. And yeah, check out Eat the Fugly Carrot. Food, what the flock is it anymore? Love that. With Mike and Eve of the Green Sheep. And for those that are inspired, they want to connect with you right away, let folks know how they can find you guys and connect kind of either, physically in person or, through websites, social media. What is the best way?
Yeah, so our website is thegreensheep.me. Coincidentally, that stands for Mike and Eve too, so that was an added bonus. And you can sign up to be on our newsletter. We're going to be hosting events. We're also the Calgary Weston A. Price Foundation chapter leaders. So we're going to be hosting events there in another community that has been around for so long based on ancestral eating and farming and health freedom, and they're wonderful. So if we can share that information with more people, that would also be great. We're both on LinkedIn. And yeah, website's probably the best way to find us for now. We're up to creating some new ways to hear about all the stuff we're doing. So stay tuned in the future for podcasts and newsletters and snippets of information that'll help support your food journeys.
All right. Wonderful. Love it. Okay. Well, thanks for yeah, tuning in, being part of this conversation. And for those of you that listening, please share this out because it's a movement. It's about yeah, being part and helping move the collective dial so we can all individually and collectively get to a better place, both physically, personally, in our communities, and for the whole planet. So yeah, thank you guys for the chat, and we'll see you very soon.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Thank you.